Thanks to Magiba. I am the Chief Marketing Officer of Metrobank.
So, sir, so far, I mean, last year you launched the Meaningful Banking Trust of Metrobank, right? So, so far, how is it accepted by, let's say, the older generation of bankers? I mean, the original, I mean, like the you know, the first generation clients, or I mean, the lolos now, or
Well, they love it. What's great with meaningful banking, by the way, it's not really about age kasi, it's about the mindset. And what we realize is it transcends generations. In fact, it's very interesting. We were talking to some clients and they said, for the younger ones, they say that, hey, that's what I aspire to be and that's what I need for the bank. And for the older generation one, they said, they relate as well because they said, hey, that's what I actually want my kids and the young people to actually be. So they find a common ground about having meaningful banking in their life. So really good across all around the generation.
I mean, for a regular banking, what are the tangible changes that one can observe with a meaningful banking, with this campaign?
Well, as with anything, a lot of people have said that banking is there's a lot of complication around it. And one of the first promises of meaningful banking is to decomplicate it, make things simple, focus back on the basics of, what banking is really about having somebody you trust that you can talk to, explain things. And that's why one of the tangible things is really a focus on financial education and a focus on educating our clients and our customers. I think, if you walk into a lot of banks, or even not even banks, or financial institutions, it's really difficult to have a conversation. It's really hard to do that. What we want to do and what we're expressing with Meaningful Banking is whether you walk into a branch or you go into our sites or whatever you do, we want to make sure that things are a little bit simple for you and it's something that you can really understand. Which is the first tangible thing. The second tangible thing is we want to keep improving our services and our products, right? We want to make sure that, particularly for this generation who's more tech savvy, who's really valuing their time, we keep on improving it. So every month, you'll see a lot of things getting better. We don't, we're in a journey. We don't claim to actually be great or perfect in the things we have now, but our commitment with meaningful banking is that things will keep on improving as time moves forward.
So there's a question, is banking still meaningful in this generation?
I think so. It's meaningful in the sense that money and the exchange of value and even having a trusted person to talk to, is still meaningful in this generation, right? And, banking is not really just about accounts. For Metrobank, we like to look at our customers and say, you're not just a account number. You're actually somebody that's in a partnership with us. And together we can grow with you, whatever you need, and as we both grow in serving the needs that you have.
And tell us about the Earnest, your program about Earnest.Ph, and what's it's all about, and give us a brief overview.
Sure. Well, one of the commitments of meaningful banking is that we're gonna be very serious about advocating for financial education. Now, Earnest.Ph, and if you go into that website, the tagline says it all: investing made easy. It's really a site that's dedicated to educating people in the most simple and friendliest way about investing. There's 2-minute lesson cards that you can take on your phone. Our mission was, hey, if you're sitting in a jeepney or you're riding in a public transportation and you only have 2 minutes between your point A to point B, can you actually get educated? That's the point of Earnest. And then there are real people as well, right? Stories. There's a community that's inside there, both experts and everyday people like you and me. Talk about investing. What is it? What to look out for? What's hot? What they've learned. And that's what Earnest is all about. And we encourage people to look in and not just read, but also contribute their knowledge, because this is the generation as well where you can be heard, and what on your experience of investing can also be put in there.
So how young can you go to even para you can at least understand the concept of Earnest?
Well, I think if you go in there, there's a multitude of topics that are there. what we try to do is that if you can read and you can understand basic principles.
So even kahit high school can
I would think so.
would
I
be
would think so.
it would
Now
be
there's a difference between being able to actually participate,
Okay.
right? Because products,
of
you have
course,
to be a
of course.
certain
But at
age.
least you have the
That-
basics right at the
Yes,
start about
of course.
investment and
And learn
understanding.
about risk, learn about
Or you can use
investing.
it for research
Yeah,
also.
of course. Go in there and look at it.
So it's a resource. And of course, my page is called Why Cebu. So Why Cebu should, Cebuanos basically should check out Earnest.Ph.
You know, it's interesting. Since we were in beta late last year, some of our let's say there's a lot of Cebuanos that are already there and checking it out. In fact, that's the reason why I'm here. We also wanted to say thank you and give a shout out to all Cebuanos here. I think Cebu, as my colleague mentioned earlier, it's one of the fastest growing cities. I think people here are extremely interested in a lot of things, and when you have a dynamic city, like a lot of young people, there's a need for people to get educated, and there's a need for people to know more about what's happening. And Earnest was written by Filipinos for Filipinos, and we believe that the content there and the conversations are more relevant to you. And we look forward to Cebuanos actually coming in and also talking about what's investing like here in Cebu. What can it be like?
And finally, being in the banking industry for quite a while, can you just give at least 3 earnest tips about, for Cebuanos? I mean, especially the ones starting out on investment. Of course, the first tip would be checking out Earnest.Ph. But personally, what are the 3 good lessons that, you can carry basically up?
Sure. Well, the lessons should be very, I'll talk about it, not like a banker,
Okay.
but I'm not really a banker, but more of, we look at everybody as people, right? The first lesson is to have a healthy curiosity and to seek to be informed first before you do anything, right? Very basic. Before you jump into anything, go and read about it, talk to your friends, talk to somebody who knows, right? The second one, and this is very basic, before you go into investing or things like that, focus on putting together an emergency fund for yourself. Because if you haven't put together an emergency fund and you haven't had something there that's going to cushion you when
So what's
times are
a good amount for an emergency fund?
I want you to go into the site and read all about it. We have an article.
Okay, nice.
That's there, but take at least 10% of your salary that you're earning and then put it aside, and that's what we call paying yourself first. Right, so pay yourself first and set it aside. And then the third is basically, read up, be informed, have a healthy curiosity, pay yourself first. And the third is basically don't be afraid to explore as well. When you've got, especially when you have somebody trusted with you, and especially when you're doing the first 2, be brave. Kasi when you don't take the first step, you don't actually ever embark on that journey. And I think Cebuanos are very brave. This is the places where a lot of things get tested here first. So I think those are the 3 tips that.
And finally, this is the month of February. Basically, this will be posted in February. So, ang dami ring na broken-hearted doon dahil sa mga financial decisions basically, right? So, ng mga wrong investments have gone. So, what tip can you give sa mga na broken-hearted?
Well, the tips of our heart is parang love.
Oh, parang love, yeah.
Frustrate. Parang love which will come at the right time. Don't get burned by these experiences. Treat it as learning experiences if you've actually been burned. Get smarter, get better, so that the next time that you want to participate in something, you know more, you're more prepared, you understand the risks better, and your heart is also better prepared because ganyan talaga yung buhay. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
So there you have it, guys. He's not just, a marketer, but he's also, a love guru, by the way. So take those steps, guys, and remember it. And, of course, check out Earnest.Ph. And
Thank you.